Hey, it's your girl Odile on Living Gaijin. In this video, we're gonna talk about parental kidnapping because guess what? It's a big thing here in Japan. And like many Gaijins, they are shocked out of their pajamas when their partner is able to take their child away without giving absolutely no notice. So we're gonna talk about what that is like and how you can handle that situation. Here's the first thing to note. The Japanese legal system doesn't really acknowledge joint parental custody, which means if you and your partner are expecting a child, the mother automatically assumes full custody of the child, whether or not the father is involved. That's just the system. And the same goes for when a couple is divorced, then only one parent is legally acknowledged as the custodian of the child. However, both parents can have mediation and have joint agreement as to visitational rights and custody of their child. However, there is no legal obligation for both parents. Therefore, if the primary caregiver decides to take the child away from the non-custodial parent, they are within their legal rights to do so. Here's why. There is actually a complete legal separation between the non-custodial parent and their child. Here's what that means. If the child carries your name, then the primary caregiver is within all legal rights to change the name of the child to their name. So in the case of a mother who is divorced, if she should remarry and take the name of her new husband, then the child also takes the name of the husband without any legal notice, without having any legal need or obligation to notify biological father of the child. And the same goes for if the father is the primary caregiver and he should remarry, then his wife has a right to adopt the child as her own without giving any notice at all to the biological mother of that child. Our rule of thought is that the primary caregiver or the parent with custody of the child can decide the overall well-being of that child, whether or not to allow the non-custodial parent to have access to that child. Or if the non-custodial parent just doesn't want to be involved and want to get a clean cut, a clean slate, they can do so legally. However, there are instances where a parent can take a non-custodial partner to court, forcing them to pay. However, a lot of these cases, the law cannot force that parent to pay alimony, child support, or to even get involved in the day-to-day life of that child. And here's what the law sees it as. When both parents decided to split, there must have been some reason. And because if there is conflict between both parents, if both parents can't get along, which is the assumption for there being a divorce or some kind of separation, the court doesn't want that to interfere with the day-to-day life of the child, their emotional well-being as well as their physical well-being. So hence, there is a complete separation between the non-custodial parent and the child. Again, Japan looks at the overall welfare of the child if the parent is involved on a legal basis. However, if parents do want to keep contact, then they can do so privately and make arrangements for that to happen, for there to be visitation, for there to be payment of child support. However, if a parent decides, I don't want to do this anymore, there is no legal obligation to do so. And again, if you have a good lawyer who can argue your case in court, then voila, you can get that visitational right or you can get that child support money. There's a second thing to note about child custody here in Japan. If you're a parent and your child was born overseas and within your country you have full custody or joint custody of your child, and for some reason you get home and realize, oh my goodness, my wife and child or my partner and child are not here. They have vanished. For some reason they have gone back to Japan. okay, and you wanting to come back to Japan to get custody of your child, guess what? The likelihood of that happening is very, very super low. Why? Because Japanese laws do not uphold parental custody arrangements that were made in a foreign country. But again, if your child was taken by force by your partner, you can actually argue that in courts here in Japan in order to receive custody of your child. And even in some cases, to get full custody and have your child returned back. As you can see, Japanese courts are a little hands-off when it comes on to family matters or civil matters here in Japan. They can make recommendations, for example, for mediation. And if mediation fails, for instance, in deciding who takes custody of the child, then the courts will make a decision as to which parent should have sole custody of the child. But here's the thing about that. The parent whom is already taking care of that child, their everyday needs, automatically assumes custody of the child. So there's no grand decision made about the full custody of that child, giving the parent all right to remove the child from your own home country entirely, to remove them from the residence entirely, or to not give you access at all to your biological child. And here's the final thing to note. In the case of death of the primary caregiver or the parent with custody of your child, automatic custody is not given to the surviving parent. If there wasn't a will left by that parent outlining the guardianship of the child, then the courts will decide guardianship, whether guardianship is given to the surviving parent if the parent does contest for custody, to a living relative of maybe the parent that died or the surviving parent, or the courts may give custody to the state depending on the conditions or the circumstances around that child's well-being. So automatic custody is not given to the surviving parent if the parent with custody should die. Yes, under these conditions, parental kidnapping is actually not a criminal offense. A parent who has full custody of their child here in Japan has all rights to remove the child from their residence or to take the child back to Japan if they were once in their home country, provided that force wasn't used. So do not be surprised if your Japanese partner refuses for you to visit the child, give the child the surname of their new husband. My disclaimer is, if you find yourself in this situation, consult an attorney to see how you can get custody of your child or how you can play a more active role in your child's life if your partner is refusing you visitational right, or if your partner is not carrying the weight of taking care of the child, such as paying child support. And there you go. Next on Living Gaijin, we're going to talk about in what cases is parental kidnapping a criminal offense. We are going to go more into details about that situation and how is it that you can go about filing a case against the parent who has taken your child without giving you absolutely no notice. So catch us next time on Living Gaijin. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and leave me a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you want to know about Japan, and I will do my best to give you the information you want. Catch you next time on Living Gaijin.